Welcome to Greenlight This, the podcast where we pitch the movies Hollywood hasn't dared to make. Yet. Each week we build new worlds, spin wild sequels, and launch entire cinematic universes straight from our imagination to your ears. My name is Landon Davis, but you can call me Squiddy, and I'm here with the Kermit to my Miss Piggy, Travis Madore.
Hi-ho, everyone. This is Travis here. So, Squiddy, why are we here?
Well, I think like most friends in the 21st century, we've joked about making a podcast where...
Absolutely.
10 years ago it was probably more of, making a reality TV show about us, but it's really, I think, worked in our favor that we should give this a shot. Do you remember, since our friendship was kind of founded on movies, do you remember what movie we first hung out over?
I do indeed. It was The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and what a fine movie it is. I had not seen it, but we've talked a lot about it, and you invited me over to watch it because you had it, and from there it just spun to occasional movie nights, and, well, yeah, here we are.
Oh, I don't think it was occasional. I mean, we went through the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe within a couple months.
That is very true. Quite the effort.
Yep, yeah, which back then when we were ending at Infinity War, that wasn't as big of a mountain to climb as it would be now.
That is very true. So, Squiddy, why this podcast?
Well, I've often thought about how we've lost monoculture. Back in the 80s, the 90s, a major movie, whether it was Batman or Multiplicity or Independence Day, Men in Black, Titanic, all those movies were just these cultural events where multiple people would rush to the theater to see them. But in an era now where we have YouTube and podcasts and TikTok and a dozen streaming services, it's hard to get anyone to rush to the theater because it's going to end up on a streaming service in 6 months.
That's a really good
or
point.
3 months if you're managed by a mouse. Travis, what do movies mean to you?
Movies for me, currently a lot of it's just pure entertainment, whimsy, escapism. I know that is a big thing for a lot of people. But growing up, there was just something magical about movies. Like, I remember just what a treat it was being able to go to a movie theater, get a small bag of popcorn, maybe even actually a candy if my parents could afford it at the time, and just being able to enjoy a movie for the first time on the big screen. It's just, nothing gets better than that. Like, just spending a summer night that way.
Absolutely, I gotta agree with you. Growing up in rural Utah, we had a small single screen movie theater. You had to wait outside to get your tickets, but going into on like a cement floor that was already sticky because they never were able to fully get a soda cleaned off of that floor. Maybe buying a 25-cent Airhead or something at the concessions with sneaking some of my dad's popcorn and watching a movie. It was just such a thrill. Again, since it was a single theater, we usually had to wait a month to 2 months after a major release because they would have to switch between adult movies and family or kid movies to really get something. So I just really grew to appreciate when I could see a major movie. Well, Travis, do you think we should get started?
Absolutely. So, Greenlighters, grab your popcorn. It's time to greenlight something new. All right, hit the lights. Roll camera. Wait. Hold on. Where's the script?
Okay, so to get into today's topic, Travis, what can you tell me about the Muppets?
The Muppets. It's so fascinating because looking into the history of Jim Henson, who is the creator of the Muppets, he started off doing commercials and then just all of a sudden, bam! We have the Muppet Show and the movies, and then we have spin-offs like Fraggle Rock, Dinosaurs, Sesame Street, Jim Henson. And then we get into some of the other projects like Dark Crystal, Labyrinth. And then, unfortunately, Jim's passing. And we get the acquisition by Disney, where we have a couple other Disney projects, a couple of relaunches, a couple of other additional series. There's a lot. There's a lot of Muppets out there, but almost all of them are great.
Yeah, I totally have to agree. I love the Muppets. I think things like Ralph, the great pianist of the Muppets, starting out as a selling dog food, and now we all know him as the major movie celebrity that he is. that I'm always thrilled whenever I see a Muppet project going to be in the works. So I know the Muppets definitely from the era of VHS with Christmas
same.
Carol, Treasure Island. We even had a Muppet VHS Babies special that we had in the family. And I even remember, and I don't know what VHS it was on, but there was a music video of the Muppets performing Kokomo. And that has definitely lived in my head rent-free, is their version of Kokomo. Travis, what is your intro to the Muppets?
Oh man, my introduction to the Muppets, I would definitely have to say Muppets Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island. Those were the two that I definitely had growing up. It wasn't Christmas without watching a Muppets Christmas Carol. Like, without Michael Caine's Scrooge, the holiday season, it wasn't right. That was definitely my introduction to the Muppets. And then from there, a couple of like one-off things of, seeing some episodes of the show, Muppet Babies, and so forth. But Squid, what's your favorite Muppet?
Ooh, now we're getting to the deep questions.
Yes, we are.
I have always been a sucker for Sweetums.
Ooh, gotta love them.
Yep, I love just a big, hairy dude, the Shrek archetype that looks grumpy, but man, has just a heart of gold. I even remember an old VHS for The Frog Prince. It was an old TV special that Jim Henson had done.
Okay.
Where like Robin ends up being Prince Charming and saves the kingdom, but Sweetums was kind of the monster living in the basement of the castle. And you'd have to look it up on YouTube to get a good quality version of this, but I still remember a song that they have to sing to put Sweetums to sleep.
Okay.
And it goes, "Sweetums, lay your ugly head down upon your wretched bed. Close your eyes and go to sleep. Sweetums, rest your hulking heap." And I remember this very vividly because the family legend goes that I was sung to me as a baby. So great at building up self-esteem in my family. Yep, top tier.
Squiddy, rest your hulking head.
Travis, to you, who's your favorite Muppet?
I feel like this might be a generic answer. I don't know. Don't be mad at me, but I've always loved Kermit. Just, he's such an iconic character. Like, you look at Kermit and you know instantly, oh yeah, it's Kermit the Frog, Muppet. I don't know, just the voice, the mannerisms, the singing, like the songs. I don't know, I always gravitated towards Kermit. If I had to pick a follow-up, though, it would have to be Gonzo. I love Gonzo.
Yes, I do. I loved my weird alien weirdo. I've always had a soft spot for him myself. Well, Travis, what makes a Muppet movie good?
Oh man, I feel like there has to be a specific formula where it's more than just having puppets and puppeteers. Or even more than just a story. It's gags, running gags, either like a quick cheap gag or a pun that's just laid throughout the whole movie. Celebrity cameos. If you go back and watch almost any Muppet project, there's just dozens of really great small cameos or parts from really renowned celebrities, which is always shocking to go back through and rewatch the old ones and try to look behind the scenes, or not behind the scenes, but in the background. Look in the background for other celebrities. The music. It's not a Muppet movie without some songs and some merriment. Trying to think what else, but yeah, just music, laughter, jokes, gags, puppets, I guess.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I think, like any major movie, if you have a good story, that's the best starting point.
Yeah.
The Muppets, like you said, you need your star power. You don't want to oversaturate the project, kind of like with the last movie that they did,
Most Wanted.
It just got a little oversaturated with your celebrity power. The comedies, the gags, the surprises. You need need Animal to burst into a giant monster, and you need those little things that only the Muppets can do. I agree that I think music is one of the most important things. We all know Rainbow Connection, and that set the soul for both the first movie, and I think it's held true to being the soul of the project ever since. Like the Muppets are all defined by this one song. I would even give credit to the second most recent movie, The Muppets in 2011.
Okay.
And I think I've mentioned this to you off mic, but the project Pictures in My Head, I really connected with this song. in 2011. That was my graduating from high school year. So seeing this song about kind of lost friendships and things like that, just, it connects on a level when
Yeah.
you're on your graduation. And I just think that there are these amazing parts of the Muppets that can be explained through song. And that's when they come to life. They're just felt and cardboard, but also to a lot of us, if we see Kermit next to someone, we're going to just know that it's Kermit, like no matter the
Absolutely.
situation. I think advancing technology.
Yeah.
We've talked about things like in the original Muppet movie, when you see all the Muppets biking, like Kermit
Yes.
Mike
Yeah.
biking, those, it just blows your mind because you just
Yeah,
can't.
I'm still floored by it.
Yeah, you can't believe that that's not a person on a bike, but they marionette all of the Muppets in this amazing way that still holds true. A few small pieces that I think help a project be successful are the Muppets have never been the villains. They've always
That is a
worked
good
as
point.
heroes. Yeah. You maybe get some henchmen in something like Muppet Treasure Island or Christmas Carol. They are the ghosts, but the ghosts aren't technically bad. They're just there to support Scrooge through the experience. And I know this became kind of a popular theory online, but I think it's true that Tim Curry and Michael Caine represent the two best versions of how to interact
absolutely.
with the Muppets. You have Tim Curry, who just goes bananas off the wall, and he is the Muppet in that movie, and everyone else gets to act straight-faced and normal.
Yeah.
To just Tim Curry going, "Rawr."
I'm a Muppet.
And then you have Michael Caine that uses just decades of Shakespearean acting.
Oh, yes.
And just decides, yep, I'm going to treat Kermit and Miss Piggy and all these other Muppets as if they have also worked Shakespeare with me for the last 50 years. And both versions, I think, really create the characters in a lot of ways. So, Travis, why do just Muppets work so well when we get to a movie?
See, that's such an interesting question because I feel like you can analyze it over and over and over again. And I don't think there's a right answer. But when it comes to the Muppets, I feel like the biggest part about it is the soul that all of the puppeteers bring to each of their characters that they're portraying. Even just a simple background Muppet has such a big role to play. Like, they're so important. They don't overlook someone in the background. Anybody, really. If you watch any Muppet movie, everybody in the background has some kind of purpose to it. So, yeah, just bringing soul to the characters that they're portraying and attention to detail, I think, is just another reason why it does work so well.
I absolutely agree with you. I think, especially when you're saying paying attention to the details, I think the Muppets are the last remnant of old Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
Because a classic old Hollywood movie, Singing in the Rain or My Fair Lady, you're going to get that song, you're going to have other celebrities, you have all those aspects we talked about that make a Muppet movie so good. But no one else is going to do that. You're not going to see that in other projects now. But the Muppets, they just can still show us that glimmer of what we believed in, the nostalgia and everything of like an old classic Hollywood era.
Oh, yeah.
So the Muppets have had a lot of great projects planned in the past that have gotten, shelved throughout the years. I'll mention a few of them, such as they had a Robin Hood, they had a Kermit, Prince of Denmark, which was going to be a parody of Hamlet.
Wow. That would have been fun.
Yeah, there's even a song of it that's floating around somewhere on YouTube by one of the creators.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's another one that was the cheapest Muppet movie ever made, or something to that effect, where Kermit was too busy to direct the next movie. Gonzo asked to direct and blows the entire budget on the opening sequence of the movie. And so as the movie goes along, they have to get cheaper and cheaper to the point that they just start using the storyboard to tell the end of the movie. And there are just things like that I'm like, guys, why do we not have any of this on screen yet? Just makes me want to shake a little bit. But today I'm going to give 3 stories
Okay.
that I think would work great for Muppet movies. kind of going along the lines of what they've done really well. I think one that would be in the parody comedy style.
Okay.
One book adaptation. We both referenced how much we love their book adaptations.
Oh, yes.
And their highest grossing movies have been original stories, so I'm going to share an original story that hopefully we would like. So first project going off of parody is based off of an idea that they've had in the past trying to do, but Muppets and Camelot. I think the idea of seeing the Muppets in knights in armor, that is great. The Muppets look good in costumes.
Oh, yes.
The Victorian era, again, in Treasure Island and Christmas Carol, that just looks so well against their felt skins in a variety of colors. So the log line, the tagline, I think, for a Muppets Camelot would be, after King Arthur's death, can the Muppets find the Holy Grail to save Camelot and put Galahad on the throne?
Ooh.
Yeah, so very simple plot. Galahad, the nephew to Lancelot, arrives in Camelot to join the Knights of the Round Table, but King Arthur passes as his son Mordred welcomes his evil aunt, Morgan Le Fay, into Camelot. Guinevere and Lancelot are going to lead the knights to find the Holy Grail to save Camelot.
Nice. I do like the sound of that.
Yeah, so the big question, who are we going to cast,
Yes.
right? So Galahad, I think since he's a relative of Lancelot, we just are going to grab Robin,
Okay.
the littlest frog. Guinevere, Miss Piggy. She's the female. You need the female lead. It's got to be the star power of Miss Piggy. And Lancelot, the love interest for Guinevere, Kermit the Frog. And
of course.
it just works so well, those three together. You need the dramatic, the over-the-top villain for Morgan Le Fay. I see her just with a bunch of crony Muppets with her. I think the perfect casting is Cate Blanchett.
Ah, yes, Kate. She does such a great villain, and just kind of thinking back to her portrayal in Thor 3 Ragnarok. Yeah, just kind of that aesthetic with Muppet cronies would be perfect for the screen.
And we both know Kate's going to deliver the same quality she did against a Hemsworth when talking about Muppets. So
absolutely.
It would be great. We need a strong, King Arthur looking figure. Somebody that, can maybe have a beard. He's got the parted hair. I think James McAvoy would work great. It'd be a smaller role, maybe one musical number that he's around, but 15 minutes into the movie is probably when he's going to pass. And then also as another fun little cameo, not a major character in the story, but everyone wants to know what Merlin's doing at this time.
Okay.
And I think the idea of having Anthony Hopkins.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Anthony. Sir Anthony.
Especially, let's give him, like a little intro. I like the idea of him using marionettes or like sock puppets to tell the history of like King Arthur up to this point as the intro to like a crowd of like children and Muppet children. And then, it's a little meta, like sock puppets or marionettes speaking to Muppets. And yeah, that's why I think that it would be a great version to see the Muppets take on this role. I would like to mention, I think the perfect director for this is the director who worked on Treasure Island and Christmas Carol, which was Brian Henson, Jim Henson's son. Yeah, he struck our childhoods. Let's let him help the next generation.
I like that.
The second project, which would be would be the book adaptation. I like the idea of using Brian Henson again. And it's a book that, again, I'm a little surprised hasn't been used more often and maybe a little bit more accurate to the book.
Okay.
But Muppets Around the World in 80 Days.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think there's just something fun about that adventure. I know you've read it more recently. I read it in like middle school, so it's been a long time for me. The log line, I think, for this one would be Phineas Fogg makes a bet with two colleagues to travel around the world in exactly 80 days. Pretty short and sweet.
Short and sweet. Right out of the book.
Yep. The summary for this would be the eccentric Phileas Fogg wagers that he can circumnavigate the globe in 80 days, setting off with his three-man servants. Their journey is complicated by the relentless pursuit of Detective Fix, who suspects Fogg of a Bank of England robbery. The group faces numerous obstacles, including a daring rescue of a Miss Piggy and a funeral
Ooh.
pyre, an elephant ride through India, attacks in the Wild West, and misconnections. But they ultimately return to London just in time to win Fogg's wager.
Oh, spoiler alert.
I know I'm giving away the end of a 100-plus-year-old book. So we need a Phileas Fogg.
Yes, we do.
I love the idea of going Tim Curry style, where we need somebody that's going to be bouncy and energy, let everyone else be a little straight-faced here. And the British actor that I love and respect, who's got the right energy, I think is Matt Berry.
Oh, yes, I love Matt Berry. Yeah, I think he would do a great job just surrounded by Muppets. He's kind of one of those that, yeah, he wouldn't see the Muppets as Muppets. He would just, see himself as one of them.
I think projects like What We Do in the Shadows
Yes.
is a perfect example of how he would just play it so over the top. I love his voice. I think anytime he's popped up on a project, I've just slapped you on the arm, just been like, It's Matt Berry. I'm so excited. So for his 3 manservants, originally in the book, it was just one person. But let's go with the 3 main trio in the Muppets. So Kermit, Fozzie, and Gonzo would be his manservants.
Okay.
So Kermit can be the most, straight-faced person. Fozzie will be a little off the walls, and then Gonzo probably going to blow something up and flirt with a chicken. And then the female hero, Aota, I think is how it's said in the book, but I think it would be played by Miss Piggy.
Okay.
And then I've really thought about this detective role, and somebody else that I think would be willing to go maybe too straight-faced with the Muppets, but maybe would be just as comical as them. He's really good in his comedy roles. Would be Liam Neeson.
Oh, yes. Liam's really been showing his ability to do the straight-faced comedy, and it's been working really well for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think there would be fun things in this where you have Ralph be a piano player in the Wild West.
Oh, yeah.
They'll run into Bunsen, Honeydew, and Beaker somewhere along the way. Maybe Sam the Eagle's getting worshipped in Egypt or something. Just let's make it chaotic. Let's make it fun. I would love to see them tackle this book. Okay, so last of the 3 projects is going to be a Muppet original movie. I'm calling it Muppets So Good. SOW for those playing along at home.
Okay.
Yeah. And the tagline for this is going to be Miss Piggy, Summer, and Skeeter's friendship is challenged as a product launch fails at their company So Unique.
Ooh.
So I'm going to step back just a little bit for those that aren't aware, but in the Muppets, Miss Piggy has kind of been the solo star for 50 years now. Not that I'm saying her age. And there just haven't been too many female members of the Muppets. There's Janet in the Mayhem Band, but other than that, it's pretty like D-list members of the gang that are female. But in both the 2018 and 80s version of the Muppet Babies, they've introduced 2 female members. So in 2018, they introduced Summer, who is a penguin with like purple back.
Okay.
So a female member. And then Skeeter is Scooter's sister, twin sister. And she was, again, kind of introduced in the 80s. And I think there's an opportunity to introduce kind of a female trio here. Showing the Muppets age a little bit is now we have a lot more female comedians than we had 50 years ago. That was kind of
true.
More male. That's probably where the ratio fell off. But we grew up with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy. We have all these amazing female women that are fantastic in comedy. And I would love to kind of let the Muppets take their turn at this. So, story, pretty simple, I hope, but we'll set this in LA, give it the bright lights, the beauty of Hollywood kind of again, but Miss Piggy, Summer, and Skeeter have been friends since babyhood.
Oh, Muppet Babies.
Mm-hmm, yep. You're catching on. They have achieved success in their company, So Unique, after Miss Piggy has retired from Hollywood. At the night party launch of their newest line of products, in front of friends and enemies, things go horribly wrong. our three heroines must reconnect and put together the clues to figure out how things went awry. So, again, I think kind of starring Miss Piggy, Summer, and Skeeter, we're going to get these different characteristics of Miss Piggy. She's a diva. She's the fashionista. That's her main role that she's always done. That's where she's going to go. She's probably going to pick a fight with everyone else, cause the drama. Summer, she's very creative and energetic from the little bit that I've seen watching 2018 Muppets. So I think that would be her spot. As I see her, like, she's the painter person that's covered in, art that she's been working on. And then Skeeter, kind of giving her a little bit of a vibe similar to her brother. I think Skeeter would work good as a straight-laced, techie individual.
Okay.
Let's give her like the female, like Steve Jobs energy, you know?
Oh, okay.
Like she works in the perfect trinity of what they're kind of doing. Kind of opens up their company to be one of a dozen things. I didn't want it to be too Devil Wears Prada, since Miss Piggy has been in fashion like in 3 movies.
Yeah.
But we need villains. And the 2 actresses that I would love to see with the Muppets that could play evil and dramatic and, try to conquer their business is Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph.
Ah, yes.
I think those 2 together could work well in this role. I would even throw in the plot that they actually were formerly best friends, but they've broken up their friendship and their company, and that's why they're each trying to take over this So Unique. So I think that's why I would love to see those 2 together. The visuals that I would go for definitely are going to be in your Mean Girls, Pitch Perfect. Like I said, maybe a little bit of Devil Wears Prada energy.
Okay.
A lot of female movies. And for this one, I want to reference some people that I think would be working behind the scenes. A great writer and producer for this, I think, is Tina Fey.
Okay.
She did do Mean Girls. She's done a lot of stuff. She's worked great with Amy Poehler. Yeah. For director, Elizabeth Banks.
Ooh.
Yeah, she directed Pitch Perfect 2 and Cocaine Bear, which is not the vibe, but I think she would do a great job in this role. And, they'd give themselves cameos, so that's kind of a fun little add-in.
Oh, yeah.
And music for this one, I would love to get an original song, maybe from somebody like Lady Gaga, Chappell Roan, somebody modern. But besides that, I'd love to see some jukebox music style to this. So let's give it songs like Respect, You Don't Own Me, Stronger, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, Bad Reputation, 9 to 5, Who Runs the World, just all the classic like female empowerment songs.
Gotcha.
Everything that you're not going to listen to, but I secretly do.
I'll listen to some of it, especially if it's Miss Piggy singing it.
Exactly. It would be a great rendition, and, these songs can eventually lead them back together. I think there's a great story there. Well, do you have any notes for me on these movies?
No, I don't have any notes. These are all really great options.
Okay, well then I think let's head over to post.
Good. That's a wrap. Let's go to post.
Hey, that was great. We will have pictures of these fan casts actually posted to Instagram. Now that we're in post, do we have any listener questions today?
Yes, we do. This one comes from our good friend ChatGPT.
I gotta love them.
Exactly. What was the first movie you were obsessed over as a kid?
Oh man, first movie I remember obsessing over as a kid was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I just remember watching it all the time and then being so ecstatic about parts about it that I would go to my parents and tell them what I'm watching. And I just definitely remember that I could not say Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I said other vernaculars that I will not currently express here so we can keep this family friendly. But I do remember my parents constantly correcting me. No, it's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yeah, that's what I said. What about you? What was the movie you obsessed over?
Ooh, okay. So for me, I'm sure there's something probably earlier, but I would say my first big obsession was Toy Story. I became a big Toy Story kid.
Ooh.
I had almost all of the toys, except for Buzz Lightyear. I did go through like 2 Buzz Lightyears. Somehow I kept breaking him. I don't know why.
That's sad.
But even like Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, they were my favorite. That became one of my favorite toys. Yeah, I went through a large Toy Story era there between Toy Story and Toy Story 2.
Nice. Well, Squiddy, anything you'd like to greenlight this week for our listeners?
Ooh, well, I think since we've kind of been talking about the Muppets, I would definitely greenlight. Go back and watch a Muppet movie, the original, whichever one floats your boat. Maybe even give the 2011 one a shot.
That one was really good.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. What about you, Travis? What are you going to greenlight?
Ooh. I think a part with just keeping on theme with Muppet movies. Yeah, go back, rewatch some of the old Muppet movies. I would throw my hat in for Treasure Island, just because it's a classic. You can't go wrong with it. And, it's one of those literature books.
It is my go-to whenever I'm sick. I watch the Muppet Treasure Island version. Well, guys, if you got a Muppet pitch of your own, love these movies that we've made, or think we could have cast better, go ahead and give us a message or tag us on Blusky, Instagram, or TikTok at Greenlight This Pod. We might feature it in a future episode.
Yeah, and follow us on Letterbox, where we post movie reviews, and our watch list might hold hints for what's in production.
And if you enjoyed this production, leave us a 5-star review, subscribe so you don't miss the next premiere. Let's drop next week's trailer, and credits roll.
Next week on Greenlight This, you know him as Saruman the White, Count Dooku, Dr. Wonka, and Dracula. What if Hollywood made a biopic of the famous Christopher Lee, a World War II veteran, metal singer, and record-holding swordsman? Who will we cast? What story do we tell? Tune in next week and decide if you'd greenlight this. Greenlight This is self-produced, directed by Landon Davis and Travis Medor, written by Landon Davis and whatever half-scribbled notes he came up with 5 minutes before recording. Executive producer, our caffeine of choice. Director of photography, absolutely no one. This is a podcast. Sound department, a microphone duct taped to a dream. Casting, us, and hopefully Miss Piggy, someday. Music, Buccaneer by Zenial from freemusicarchive.org. Craft services, leftover popcorn, and maybe a half-empty Dr. Pepper. Special thanks, you, our listeners, the real studio heads who greenlight every episode just by pressing play. This has been Greenlight This. Until next time.